Hi, viewers, welcome to our new video. What if I told you that a $1 coin, yes, just one, could be worth hundreds, thousands, or even $1 million? Sounds crazy, right? But today, I'm revealing 4 presidential dollar coins that collectors are desperately hunting for, and one of them shocks everyone at the end. So don't blink, and watch till the very end. Let's start with our first coin. You might have heard whispers, hushed conversations tucked away in comment sections, online forums buzzing with excitement, or bold clickbait headlines boldly claiming the discovery of a $1 million Lincoln coin. Maybe you've even held one of these golden-colored dollar coins in your own hand, feeling that sudden rush of hope as you wondered if fate had quietly placed a life-changing treasure in your pocket. The idea is intoxicating, an ordinary day, ordinary change, suddenly turning into something extraordinary. But is there any truth behind these claims? Could this Abraham Lincoln presidential dollar really be worth a fortune, or is the internet once again exaggerating reality? Today, we're going to take a deep, careful journey into the story of this coin, its origins, its design, its true market value, and the real reason these dramatic stories keep circulating. Stay with me all the way to the end, because the truth behind this coin is far more interesting than the rumors, and knowing exactly what to look for could save you from disappointment, or give you a genuine reason to be excited. The Abraham Lincoln presidential dollar comes from a modern and ambitious project by the United States Mint known as the Presidential $1 Coin Program. This program was launched to honor every deceased president of the United States in the order in which they served, beginning with George Washington and continuing forward through history. Abraham Lincoln, as the 16th President of the United States and one of the most iconic figures in American history, was honored as the 16th release in this series. His coin entered circulation in 2010, decades after his face had already become deeply familiar to Americans through the Lincoln cent and the $5 bill. This time, however, Lincoln was presented in a completely different format, a dollar coin with a distinctive golden appearance that immediately caught the eye. On the front of the coin, known as the obverse, Lincoln's portrait is dignified and solemn, capturing the gravity of a leader who guided the nation through its most painful chapter, the Civil War. Alongside his image are his name and the years of his presidency, 1861 to 1865, a reminder of both his leadership and the immense sacrifices made during that period. Turning the coin over reveals a powerful symbol rather than a specific historical scene. The reverse features the Statue of Liberty, standing tall as a universal representation of freedom, democracy, and endurance. Surrounding it are the words United States of America and the denomination $1, reinforcing the coin's role as everyday money despite its historical theme. One detail that often surprises people, and sometimes fuels confusion, is the coin's composition and lettering. Despite its gold-like appearance, this coin contains no gold at all. Its color comes from a manganese-brass alloy layered over a pure copper core, giving it durability and a bright finish without precious metal value. Even more unusual is where much of the coin's information is placed. Instead of the date, mint mark, and motto appearing on the front or back, they are engraved along the edge of the coin. There you'll find the year of minting, the mint mark such as P for Philadelphia or D for Denver, and the phrase E pluribus unum. This edge lettering was a major departure from traditional U.S. coin design and is one of the main reasons people believe something unusual or valuable might be hiding in plain sight. Now let's talk honestly about value, because this is where expectations and reality often collide. For the overwhelming majority of Abraham Lincoln presidential dollars, the value is exactly what is printed on the coin, $1. The U.S. Mint produced these coins in massive quantities, numbering in the hundreds of millions. They were never meant to be rare, and scarcity is one of the most important drivers of high coin values. Coins that circulated heavily, picked up scratches, or sat in drawers for years without protection are extremely common. If you found one in your pocket change, a cash drawer, or an old jar of coins, it almost certainly falls into this category. That said, condition does matter. A Lincoln presidential dollar that has never circulated, meaning it shows no wear, no dulling of the surface, and retains its original mint luster, can be worth slightly more to collectors. These uncirculated examples often come from mint rolls or official sets rather than everyday transactions. Even then, the premium is modest. Most uncirculated Lincoln dollars sell for only a few dollars, generally in the range of $2 to $4, depending on demand and condition. Proof versions, which are specially struck for collectors using polished dies and planchets, usually carry an S mint mark for San Francisco and feature mirror-like fields with frosted details. These proof coins are more visually striking and scarcer than circulation strikes, but even they typically sell for only $5 to $15. So where do the million-dollar stories come from? This is the moment where fantasy meets fact. There has never been a verified case of an Abraham Lincoln presidential $1 coin selling for millions of dollars, or even approaching such a figure. These claims usually arise from misunderstandings, exaggerated online listings, or confusion with completely different coins that are genuinely rare and historically significant. In some cases, people see an asking price, not a completed sale, and assume it reflects actual value. In other cases, a legitimate error coin is discussed, and the details get distorted as the story spreads. The one area where value can increase noticeably is mint errors. Errors occur when something goes wrong during the minting process, and a flawed coin escapes quality control and enters circulation. Among presidential dollars, the most famous error by far is the missing edge lettering error. Because edge lettering was applied as a separate step, a small number of coins were accidentally released without any lettering at all. These coins have completely smooth, blank edges, no date, no mint mark, no motto. When collectors first discovered them, excitement spread quickly, and prices jumped as people rushed to find examples in circulation. A genuine Lincoln presidential dollar with missing edge lettering can indeed be worth real money, especially compared to face value. Depending on its condition and current collector interest, such a coin might sell for $50, $100, or sometimes even a bit more. That's a meaningful premium for a $1 coin, and it makes these errors exciting to hunt for. However, even at their peak, these coins are nowhere near the mythical million-dollar level. Other minor errors, such as weak strikes or small die variations, exist but generally add only a small amount of value, often just a few extra dollars. Let's move on our second coin today's series. You might have heard whispers about a golden dollar coin worth a life-changing fortune, a hidden treasure that could be sitting right now in your pocket, your wallet, or forgotten in a kitchen junk drawer. All across the internet, stories keep circulating about a specific James Madison dollar coin supposedly selling for hundreds of thousands, even millions of dollars. Some posts make it sound like finding this coin is no different from winning the lottery overnight. But is there any real truth behind these claims, or is this just another cleverly packaged internet myth designed to grab attention? Before you rush to an auction house or start planning how you'll spend that imaginary fortune, it's important to slow down and understand exactly what this coin really is, what makes it special, and why a tiny detail can mean the difference between a $1 coin and something collectors actually want. Stay with me until the very end, because the real story behind the so-called million-dollar James Madison coin is far more interesting and far more realistic than most people realize. This coin belongs to the presidential $1 coin program, a series launched by the U.S. Mint to honor deceased U.S. presidents in the order they served. James Madison, the fourth president of the United States and a key architect of the Constitution, was honored in 2007. The obverse shows Madison facing left, with a calm but intelligent expression that reflects his reputation as a thinker and statesman. The reverse features the Statue of Liberty, a design shared across the entire presidential dollar series, symbolizing freedom and democracy rather than the individual president. At first glance, the coin looks simple, almost ordinary, and that's exactly why so many people overlook it. But the real uniqueness of this series isn't immediately visible unless you know where to look. Unlike most U.S. coins, the presidential dollars carry their date, mint mark, and mottos not on the front or back, but on the edge of the coin. This edge-inked lettering includes the year of minting, the mint marks such as P, D, or S, and inscriptions like E pluribus unum and In God We Trust, depending on the year. This unusual feature is at the heart of nearly all the excitement, confusion, and rumors surrounding the James Madison dollar. When these coins were produced, hundreds of millions were struck for circulation, meaning the vast majority are extremely common. For most people who find one today, the realistic value is exactly what it says on the coin: $1. Condition plays a role, of course. If your James Madison dollar has never been circulated, shows no scratches, no wear, and still has full original luster, it could fall into the uncirculated category. Coins graded at very high levels, such as MS-67 or higher by professional grading services, can sometimes sell in the range of $30 to $50, occasionally a bit more if demand is strong. These prices may sound disappointing if you were hoping for thousands, but for a modern circulating coin, that's actually quite respectable. Still, this isn't where the real excitement lies. The true collector interest centers on minting errors, especially those connected to the edge lettering process. One of the most talked about errors is the missing edge lettering variety. In these cases, the coin left the mint without passing through the machine that stamps the edge text, leaving it completely smooth. When these errors were first discovered, they caused a huge stir among collectors, because they were unexpected and visually dramatic once you knew what to check. A smooth-edged James Madison dollar is undeniably more interesting than a normal one, and depending on condition, these can sell anywhere from $50 to over $150. Some especially nice examples have sold for a bit more, but even then, we're still talking hundreds, not thousands. There are also satin finish versions of the James Madison dollar, which were never intended for circulation. These came in special mint sets sold directly to collectors. They have a softer, more matte appearance compared to regular circulation strikes. While they are scarcer than pocket change examples, their value still remains relatively modest, usually ranging from a few dollars to perhaps $20 or $30 in high grade. They are collectible, but they are not secret jackpots hiding in circulation. Now let's confront the million-dollar rumors directly, because this is where reality and fantasy collide. Despite what viral videos, social media posts, and clickbait headlines claim, there is absolutely no documented case of a James Madison presidential dollar selling for $1 million. None. Not at auction, not privately, not anywhere. These stories often mix together unrelated facts, confuse modern brass-clad dollars with extremely rare gold coins from the 18th or 19th centuries, or exaggerate error coin values far beyond reality. Sometimes images are reused, prices are taken out of context, or experimental coins that were never released to the public are mentioned as if they're something you might find in spare change. The truth is much less glamorous but far more honest. The James Madison dollar is a fascinating modern coin with historical significance and a few collectible error varieties. It can be worth more than face value if it's in exceptional condition or has a genuine mint error, especially missing edge lettering. But it is not $1 million coin, and it never has been. Thinking of it as a replacement for a winning lottery ticket only leads to disappointment. That said, don't underestimate the thrill of discovery. Finding a real error coin, even one worth $50 or $100, is exciting. It connects you to the minting process, to history, and to a global community of collectors who appreciate these small but meaningful details. So if you have a James Madison dollar, take a moment to examine the edge carefully. Look for missing lettering, doubled text, or anything that seems unusual. While it might not buy you a mansion or a sports car, uncovering a genuine error is still a satisfying win, and sometimes that excitement is worth more than the hype itself. Let's move on our third coin in today's series. You might have heard whispers of a hidden fortune sitting quietly in the palm of your hand, a golden-colored dollar coin with an old-fashioned portrait that looks like it belongs in a museum rather than your pocket. Online stories, viral posts, and dramatic thumbnails claim that this very coin, the William Henry Harrison dollar, could be worth $1 million or more. Some even go as far as calling it an antique coin from the 1800s, a forgotten relic accidentally released into modern circulation. According to these stories, ordinary people supposedly discovered one of these coins in spare change, old jars, or inherited collections and suddenly found themselves holding a life-changing treasure. It sounds thrilling, almost too good to be true, and that's exactly why this coin causes so much excitement and confusion. Before you start imagining early retirement or luxury vacations, it's crucial to understand what this coin really is, why so many people misunderstand it, and what collectors actually pay for it in the real world. Stay with me, because we're about to break down the rumors, the history, and the hard facts behind the value of this intriguing coin. At first glance, the confusion makes sense. The William Henry Harrison presidential dollar prominently displays the year 1841, a date that instantly makes people think of 19th century coins, gold rushes, and rare antiques. For anyone unfamiliar with modern U.S. coin programs, that single date alone can spark excitement. But here's the key detail many people miss. The 1841 date does not represent the year the coin was made. Instead, it marks the year William Henry Harrison served as President of the United States, a presidency famously short-lived, lasting just 31 days, the shortest in American history. Harrison fell ill shortly after his inauguration and passed away in April 1841, making his term one of the most unusual chapters in U.S. presidential history. This historical detail is exactly why the date appears on the coin and also why it causes so much misunderstanding. In reality, The William Henry Harrison dollar was minted in 2009 as part of the United States presidential $1 coin program. This ambitious program honored deceased U.S. presidents in the order they served, releasing 4 new designs each year. Harrison's coin was the 9th release in the series. Despite the historic date shown on the coin, it is a modern, mass-produced piece struck using contemporary minting technology. The obverse features a finely detailed bust of Harrison, capturing his stern expression and formal 19th-century appearance, while the reverse shows a powerful and symbolic image of the Statue of Liberty, a design shared by all presidential dollars. The coin's golden color often leads people to believe it's made of gold, but in reality, it's composed of a copper core with a manganese brass outer layer, giving it that shiny gold-like appearance without any precious metal value. Because the presidential dollar coins were intended to replace the $1 bill, the U.S. Mint produced them in enormous numbers. The William Henry Harrison dollar was struck at both the Philadelphia P and Denver D mints, with a combined mintage of over 98 million coins. That staggering number alone explains why most examples are extremely common today. Millions entered circulation, many ended up in storage, and countless others were never used at all once the public showed little interest in dollar coins. High mintage almost always means low value, and for most Harrison dollars, that rule absolutely applies. When it comes to real-world value, the truth is far less dramatic than the internet rumors suggest. The vast majority of William Henry Harrison dollar coins are worth exactly $1. If your coin shows signs of circulation, scratches, dullness, edge nicks, or discoloration, it holds no premium beyond face value. Even coins pulled straight from rolls or stored in drawers for years usually don't exceed $1 or $2 unless they are in pristine, collector-grade condition. That said, condition does matter. Coins that were preserved in special mint sets and never circulated can sell for $20 to $30, especially if they show sharp details, clean surfaces, and no contact marks. While that's certainly better than $1, it's still a far cry from the life-changing sum some people claim online. Now, this is where the story becomes genuinely interesting. The William Henry Harrison dollar is known for a famous and legitimate mint error that collectors actively search for: the missing edge lettering error. Unlike traditional coins, presidential dollars do not display the date or motto on the front or back. Instead, inscriptions like 2009, E pluribus unum, and the mint mark are engraved onto the edge of the coin. In 2009, during the minting process, some coins accidentally skipped this edge lettering step entirely. The result was a coin with a completely smooth, blank edge, a striking and unmistakable error. These smooth edge or missing edge lettering Harrison dollars are real mint errors and are genuinely collectible. Their value depends heavily on condition. Lower-grade examples may sell for $50 to $100, while sharper, well-preserved specimens can command $300 to $500. In rare cases, a near-perfect coin graded by a professional service has sold for as much as $2,450 at auction. That price represents the absolute high end of the market, not the norm, but it proves that certain examples do carry meaningful collector value. Still, even these top-tier errors fall far short of the million-dollar claims. So where do the million-dollar rumors come from? The answer lies in misunderstanding, exaggeration, and clickbait. Many people see the 1841 date, assume the coin is from the 1800s, and jump to conclusions without researching further. Others see outrageous online listings where sellers post common coins for hundreds of thousands or even millions of dollars, mistakenly believing those asking prices reflect real value. In truth, anyone can list a coin for any price. It doesn't mean it will ever sell. No William Henry Harrison presidential dollar, error or otherwise, has ever sold for anywhere near $1 million. Not even close. There is no verified auction record, no private sale, and no museum-level specimen that supports these claims. To be completely honest and transparent, the million-dollar story is a myth, one that continues to circulate because it sounds exciting and fuels hope. While it's disappointing for some, the reality doesn't make this coin worthless or boring. It remains a fascinating part of modern U.S. numismatic history, tied to one of the most unusual presidencies ever recorded. If you happen to own one with a missing edge inscription, you may have a genuinely valuable collectible worth hundreds or even a couple $1,000s. If not, you still hold a solid, historically meaningful coin that represents a unique chapter in America's past. In the end, the William Henry Harrison dollar isn't a hidden gold mine, but it is a reminder of how easily myths can spread and how important it is to separate hype from facts. Its real value lies not in millions of dollars, but in history, education, and the thrill of knowing exactly what you're holding. Let's move on our fourth coin in today's series. You might have heard whispers of a small, golden-hued treasure hiding in plain sight, something so ordinary it passes through countless hands every day, yet rumored to carry a value that could change a life forever. Across social media, coin forums, and viral videos, stories continue to circulate about certain George Washington dollar coins being worth staggering sums, hundreds of thousands of dollars, even millions. The idea is intoxicating. That a simple dollar coin from 2007, maybe sitting in your wallet, a jar at home, or forgotten in a drawer, could be your unexpected ticket to financial freedom. But here's the catch. Only a tiny fraction of these coins hold anything beyond face value, and the difference between a regular $1 coin and a highly collectible treasure comes down to a few nearly invisible details. Before you get caught up in the hype or rush to list your coin online, you need to understand exactly what separates myth from reality. Stick with me until the very end, because we're going to uncover the real story behind the George Washington presidential dollar, reveal the secrets hidden within its metal, and finally settle the truth behind those million-dollar rumors once and for all. To understand this coin, we need to go back to its origins. The George Washington presidential dollar was the very first release in the United States presidential $1 coin program, a historic initiative launched by the U.S. Mint in 2007. The goal of the program was to honor deceased presidents of the United States in the order they served, beginning with the nation's founding father himself, George Washington. This alone gives the coin an undeniable historical significance, as it marks the beginning of a long-running series that reshaped modern U.S. coinage. The design of the coin is bold and symbolic. On the front, or obverse, you'll find a strong, dignified portrait of George Washington, based on a classical depiction that emphasizes leadership and authority. Unlike the familiar Washington quarter, this portrait feels more imposing, filling the surface of the coin and reinforcing his role as the first president. The reverse features the Statue of Liberty, standing tall with her torch raised, a powerful symbol of freedom and democracy that ties Washington's legacy to the ideals of the nation itself. But what truly sets this coin apart from most others is something many people overlook entirely: the edge lettering. Instead of placing the date, mint mark, and motto on the front or back, the U.S. Mint stamped them directly onto the coin's edge. Wrapped around the rim, you'll find the year 2007, the mint mark, either P for Philadelphia or D for Denver, and the phrase, "In God We Trust." At the time, this was a dramatic departure from traditional coin design, and it quickly became one of the most talked-about features of the presidential dollar series. Now, let's talk numbers, because this is where expectations often clash with reality. The George Washington presidential dollar was produced in massive quantities. Hundreds of millions were struck at the Philadelphia and Denver mints, ensuring wide circulation across the country. Because of this enormous mintage, most examples you encounter today are extremely common. If your coin has been circulated, meaning it shows even light wear, small scratches, or dullness, its value is almost always exactly $1. No hidden fortune. No secret jackpot. However, condition matters a lot. Coins that have never entered circulation and still retain their original mint luster fall into a category known as mint state. These coins look nearly brand new, with sharp details and no visible wear. In these higher grades, a standard George Washington presidential dollar can be worth anywhere from $5 to $20, sometimes slightly more if professionally graded. While that won't make headlines, it's still a respectable premium for a modern coin. Where things truly get exciting is in the world of minting errors. Errors are accidental variations that occur during the production process, and collectors love them because they're unpredictable and scarce. The most famous error associated with the 2007 George Washington dollar is the legendary godless dollar. This error occurred when the coin skipped the edge lettering process entirely, leaving the rim completely smooth, no date, no mint mark, and no "In God We Trust." When these coins first surfaced, they caused a frenzy, with many people believing they had discovered a once-in-a-lifetime treasure. A genuine godless dollar is unmistakable. If you run your finger along the edge and feel nothing but smooth metal, you may have something special. These error coins typically sell for $50 to $150, depending on condition. In rare cases, pristine examples graded at the highest levels have sold for over $3,000 at auction. That's a remarkable return for a coin that originally cost just $1, and it's the source of much of the online hype. Other edge lettering errors exist as well. Some coins feature doubled-edge lettering, where the inscription appears twice due to a misalignment during minting. Others were struck with a satin finish, produced exclusively for collector sets and never intended for circulation. These varieties can command prices ranging from hundreds to over $1,000, especially when authenticated and graded by professional services. So now we arrive at the big question, the one fueling all those viral videos and sensational headlines. Is there really a George Washington coin worth millions? Here is the honest, unfiltered truth. No standard 2007 George Washington presidential dollar has ever sold for anywhere near $1 million. There is no auction record, no private sale, no verified transaction that supports those claims. The rumors persist because of confusion and exaggeration, often mixing this modern coin with much older, extremely rare pieces from American history. Some 18th-century silver dollars, early Washington pattern coins, or experimental issues from the nation's earliest days have indeed sold for six-figure sums, sometimes exceeding $100,000. But those coins are entirely different artifacts, made from silver, produced in tiny numbers, and tied directly to the earliest years of the United States. They are not the golden-colored presidential dollars found in everyday change. So while your 2007 George Washington dollar may not turn you into a millionaire overnight, that doesn't mean it's meaningless. Discovering a genuine mint error, a pristine mint state example, or a rare collector-only finish is still a thrilling experience. It's a reminder that even modern pocket change can hold surprises, and that sometimes the real treasure isn't millions of dollars, but the excitement of uncovering a hidden piece of history right in your own hands.